So before living in 3 different East Asian countries, I thought English was mainly about education, right? But after living and traveling across China, Japan, and Korea, I realized something interesting. They do learn and speak English very differently. We all know that China, Japan, and Korea belong to the East Asian culture sphere. But when they talk to people in English, they give me completely different impressions. For example, Chinese people are usually very good at memorization and exams, but become surprisingly quiet in open conversations. Japanese people may not have perfect pronunciation, sometimes even difficult to understand, but they are very willing to speak. And Koreans face very intense competition at home, yet overall, they appear more international and expressive. And slowly, I realized something. This is not really just about English education. It actually reflects 3 different ways their culture relate to the world. And let's start with China. Well, I've been working in multinational companies for many years and attend quite a lot of international meetings. And there was one pattern I noticed again and again. Many Chinese colleagues prepared extremely professional presentations, and their emails were polished and precise. But once we entered open discussions or spontaneous Q&A, many of them became invisible. According to the EF English Proficiency Index, China has long ranked around the global middle level. Reading and grammar scores are often strong, sometimes even higher than many other countries. But confidence in speaking is much lower. Why? Because for most Chinese students, learning English has only one goal since childhood: passing exams. Yes, English becomes more of a fielding tool than a communication tool. And in traditional Chinese culture, making mistakes often feels deeply embarrassing or shameful. So over time, a very common situation appears. They can speak English, but they don't dare to speak. And when I came to Japan, I noticed something very interesting. And many of my Japanese friends begin conversations with the same sentence: "My English is not good." But after saying that, they still try their best to continue. Even with simple vocabulary or imperfect grammar, they just keep talking. They are willing to try. Japan actually ranks below Korea and sometimes even below China in the EF index. Yet real life experience feels quite different. The atmosphere of using English here feels more relaxed. And my interpretation of this would be Japan is already a highly mature and stable society. English is not a decisive tool for social status or success, so people feel less pressure to perform. And here, imperfection is allowed to exist. And because of that, people are more willing to practice. Career feels completely different. And I first noted this in Seoul. In cafes, subways, restaurants, you can often communicate directly with people in English, especially with young people. Their familiarity with Western culture is very impressive. And this is closely connected to Korea's core industries, like K-pop, globally exported films and dramas, and large corporations competing worldwide. According to data from Korea's Ministry of Education, Korean students consistently rank among the top OECD countries in average English study time. From many young Koreans, English is neither just a hobby nor simply a tool. It is a form of real-world competitiveness. So psychologically, they approach English much more proactively. Over time, I came to an interesting conclusion. In China, English often represents proof of ability. In Japan, English can be an attempt at a communication. And in Korea, English is more like a ticket to enter the global market. And when you actually speak English with people from these three countries, you might notice that Chinese speakers usually organize their words and structure carefully. And Japanese speakers usually prioritize the listener's comfort. And Korean speakers often express emotions more directly and proactively. And at that moment, I realized something important. Language and culture can never truly be separated. People are shaped by their environments. Different cultures and different ways of understanding the world create different communication styles. So the purpose of learning English naturally becomes different as well. These are simply some observations based on my personal experience. If you come from a different country, I'd love to hear your perspective too.